I'm a Spirit Keeper, and I give you a reason for every season. And today, I just got my hands on this guy right here, Jack the Reaper. Before I talk about the animatronic version of Jack the Reaper right here, I do want to talk a bit about the actual mascot himself that is featured on the Spirit logo, as you can see right here. And well, obviously Spirit was created back in 1983, and this guy has been their main mascot for quite a while now, and people have been asking for an animatronic of him for quite a while now, and now Spirit has finally delivered for 2025, giving us an animatronic. But not only that, he actually tracks your movement, which I will be testing later in this video, but there's that. Now, I will say that I was debating whether or not to actually get Jack the Reaper, and the reason behind that is because he does have a pretty hefty price tag of $329.99. And well, I mean, how can you not get Jack the Reaper? So that's kind of how I made my decision, because as you can see right here, it actually says collector's item. So it's kind of like I had to get him, because I mean, he's just a super well-known icon, and he's also being manufactured by SVI, so I figured I'd throw that in. But without any further ado, let's actually preview his box. So now we can go ahead and take a look at the front of Jack the Reaper's box, and obviously right there you have him set up in all of his glory, and does say he stands over 7 feet tall, but the exact height is 7 feet 6 inches, which you will see a size comparison to a regular sized human in just a second. And this thing actually doesn't come on the box if you do ship it to your house. It's just something that the stores put on it for more information, so that QR code will lead you to his site. And then once again, collector's item, and down there you have a close-up of his face. And then right here, we actually have the picture of Jack the Reaper in that manor backdrop that all the other animatronics do have on their boxes. And then right here, that size comparison I was talking about, compared to a 6 foot size regular human, as once again, 7 feet 6 inches tall. And then right there, you have his name. And then here's the back of his box with his description and his name once again. And then finally, the last side to his box, with this one just having some close-up pictures, and then the C in action right there. And now for the moment of truth, I can go ahead and actually open up his box to see absolutely nothing besides a cardboard pull-out. So let's go ahead and take this out. So here it is, the giant pull-out tray, and right on top, we can start to take out the first piece, which is actually going to be the part to his scythe. And I mean, I didn't even notice, but this thing actually has blood on it, as you can see right there. It actually looks pretty good, and I mean, once again, this piece is just giant. And the scythe, in person, I did already see it at quite a few locations. This thing is going to be really big. Now, to get these pulls out, you do have to cut a couple zip ties, as you can see. So I'm actually going to take out one of his hands. And I mean, this also looks really nice. It is a hard plastic along with the scythe. And as you can see right there, it does have a hole right there for the scythe pull to actually go through. But once again, looks really nice. I can now go ahead and take out his adapter that was right here. Okay, so I just cut the zip ties, and there is still a piece right here that is his head, but I'm going to wait to take that out for one of the final pieces. And now we can go ahead and take out all these metal pulls. Right here you can see something for his waist, and then right here we have some of his leg pulls. And now I'm going to go ahead and take out another one of his leg pulls that was lying right here. There's then this piece which I'm trying to take out right here, you can see, and this will actually form his almost spiral for his what's supposed to be legs. Then I can go ahead and take out his giant torso piece, which this also includes his control box. I'm going to try and show you. Right there you can see the control box, and then up here we actually have the motor for his head where the motion tracking will be. So there's all that. Very big piece, and as you can see right here, more of the spiral formation. But I mean, not sure why this is all connected, but I guess that's a good thing. And then something that fell out as I was trying to take that out is going to be one of his arms right here. I'm now going to go ahead and take out his clothing right here with all of his costume. So here's this really big costume, and probably going to be a giant mess. And then we can go ahead and take out his instructions all the way at the bottom. And I did hear a couple people saying that the instructions actually don't tell you how to build this guy properly. So not completely sure why that is, but guess we'll find out. And then right here is another one of his crazy spiral formations, which really cool to see Spirit doing this. Definitely really unique, but also a bit of a weird piece. And then we can go ahead and take out Jay, which is going to be another one of his arm pulls. And this one is heavier than the other one, but here is his arm. And then right here is going to be his hand with the actual motion tracker. And as you can see, his finger is definitely the biggest one out of them all, just because it does have all the wires and everything in there to actually have the motion tracker. And then you can see right there, that black dot, not super noticeable, which is definitely a good thing. And then right here, it does actually have a cotter pin, just like a lot of other things in the setup, so that's definitely good. And then we can take out the best part of Jack the Reaper, which is going to be his head, and I'm going to give all of you the first look at this beauty. So now, this looks really cool. I love his eye. That looks so awesome. Definitely pretty generic, but I mean, you just have the awesome Jack the Reaper. And as you can see, his teeth actually look pretty good. They have a hint of yellow. Not sure if that's supposed to be there or not, but still definitely an awesome head. And then finally, we can now take out his base, which is going to be the final part for the Jack the Reaper unboxing. If this thing does want to actually come out, here it goes. Definitely a really heavy duty one. And I mean, as you can see, it has tons of supports right here. It seems to be 4 just going all around. So that's definitely a good thing. Here are all the parts that Jack the Reaper comes with, starting off with his scythe right there. And once again, the blood looks spectacular. Then we have his giant head. Well, not super giant, definitely a regular size, but still definitely a really cool piece. And then up here, we have something for his waist, some leg pulls, his adapter right here, and then these 2 spiral formation pieces, his giant base with 4 supports. Really surprised on how good the quality is on this guy. And then down here, we have the motion tracking sheet, and then underneath of that is going to be his instructions, the baggie with all the clothing, his 2 hands, the motion tracker, and then the one with the scythe, his 2 arm pulls, a leg pull, and finally, his control box. We can now start the setup for Jack the Reaper, and the first step is going to be to take the base and then the pull B, and then you just want to slide it down and snap lock it in. Bit of a more tricky one right there, just apply some pressure. And then there are 4 cotter pins. I just took the final one out. And then you do actually want to take these. Kind of getting caught on some other stuff, so I guess I'll take this one first. Bit tricky, but you do have to flex it down, and then eventually it will go into this right here. So now I can go ahead and attach the last pole right here for the support beams, and you can go ahead and take the cotter pins once again. I'm going to start with this back one, and they did come pre-attached, so you just want to repeat that same step. Place the cotter pin in right there, and just do this for every single one. Next one will be right here, so just slide it in. Probably one of the easiest steps of this. The pole was pretty hard to get in, and then these, they weren't super flexible. But now all you have to do is attach these cotter pins. And then there is also a screw right here that you do just want to screw in, pretty easy. And this guy is really well supported. Definitely one of the best made animatronics of this year. And then obviously, as you can see right there, all the cotter pins and then all these support beams. So this thing's definitely gonna be pretty sturdy. We can then go ahead and take C and then attach it to B. So hopefully this one's, a bit easier with that snap lock. And then there's going to be another screw right here. There's definitely tons of support with Jack, and then you just want to tighten the screw. I'm now going to go ahead and attach J, which is going to be his arm. And it does look quite a bit wonky at first, but it will eventually start to look good. And then what you can go ahead and do is you want to take his hand and then the pole label D and just line them up, and it should look something like that. And then you want to take his scythe right here, which is really big, and then you want to slide it down just like that. And then what you can do is now go ahead, hold his hand because it will slide down, and then you want to go up top. The base is kind of like wobbly just because it's not like steady on the thing itself, and then it should slide down to right there just like that. And then you can go behind it, and there should be a snap lock somewhere. So I'm gonna just go ahead, there you go, snap lock as you can hear, and then it should look something like this, looking pretty good. So now we can go ahead and attach the costume, and you don't want to actually feed the costume over the poles right here. You do just want to feed it through the arm just like this, and then you will have all of this stuff right here, should be dangling down up there. After that, you can take the main mechanism, and then right here, there's actually going to be a snap lock. Down here, the longer pole with the curve, I thought that was it, but it isn't because it does have a snap lock. But now right here, you just want to slide this in right here. All right, so now at this point, you can start to pull up the clothing around everything. Obviously, you don't want any of it showing, so it is falling a bit. You do just want to tug on it, and then there is more supports behind here, but as you can see from the front, it's definitely starting to look a bit better. So now would be a good time to go ahead and plug in his adapter right at the top right there, and then I'm gonna go ahead and feed his adapter just through right there, and you can just kind of feel for it. After that, you can then take this piece right here, which I thought it was for the waist, but I mean, pretty confusing. And then there's going to be something right up there. You just have to flex it down, and then it should eventually just slide in once you push on it. You can then take this little cotter pin right here, and then you just want to slide it into this compartment. This one's kind of difficult because this one doesn't flex that greatly, but there you go, just like that. And there's another one on the other end, but I'm going to do that off camera. And now you can go ahead and take his other arm, and then it does have a cotter pin, so just go ahead, take that off, and then you want to feed it through the sleeve first. Don't just attach it right away. You want to, oh, it's falling off. Slide it through the sleeve, just like this. Kind of a wonky costume because it's just like all over the place. Then right here, as you can see, got it. And then there's a square thing right here with that yellow. So you just want to sort of just push it in. Use a bit of force right there. There we go, all the way in. And you just want to take the cotter pin and slide it through. Now would be a good time to go ahead and take this labeled Q. So I'm gonna go ahead, take that sticker off, and then you just want to feed this actually over the arm so you can't see all the white foam. So just want to take that off. And then you can take the wire, make sure it's out and exposed, and then you'll be able to actually clamp this, I think, onto his hand. So now you can take his other hand right here, and there is a cotter pin, so just go ahead, take that out, and now we can take his hand. You just want to slide it on with the prong connection. So just line it up just like that. And then you want to connect this wire right here. Oh, right side. And then, yep, just slide it down just like that. And then you can go ahead, take the cotter pin, and then just attach it right here, slide it in, and you can take his clothing and adjust it. All right, so the next step is going to be to attach this, and I already did it, it's pretty difficult. So there's actually going to be a snap lock right back here from the actual torso piece connecting down here, and you just want to sort of slide it in. I do recommend using some WD-40 or something like that to put it in for a more like smooth snap lock, because definitely pretty hard. I tried to get it back out to show the camera, but it just wouldn't budge. So now we can go ahead and take out this cotter pin that's on the other spine piece, and then we can go ahead and take the one that's labeled H, and then you just want to line up the prong, much easier. And then there's actually going to be another cotter pin down here, and then you have to attach something else. And then we can go ahead and take this, and there is going to be another cotter pin. This is going to be the end of the spine piece, and then you just want to lift it up and get it over this. So there we go, just like that. Be a bit careful because it will snap down your fingers, and then you want to just apply the other cotter pin. Now we can go ahead and take even more cloth. So if you thought we were done with the cloth, we sure aren't, so buckle up, partner. But you can throw this over, and then there's actually a hole in the top right there. Let me try and get this. There we go, hole in the top. Make sure that his pole is exposed. And actually, you don't really want this to go on the arms. It's more just for the front. So as you can see right there, to have all that creepy cloth. And now, for one of our final steps, we can now attach Jack the Reaper's head. And just like every other time, I'll give you one last good look at it. Such an awesome face. And then I actually just moved this guy's arm over, so it's not like in my way. But you do want to just feed the wire down into like his control box area, and then slide his head on. There's going to be a snap lock. Not sure why this isn't sliding down super easily. So, oh, there we go. And then snap lock, you just want to push it down. So there we go, should be all the way down, and as you can see, Jack the Reaper is starting to come to life. Finally, we can attach a final piece. This unboxing is so annoying, and if you made it this far, congratulations, because I definitely would have left by now. But we can now take the Velcro and attach it on top, and I know you're thinking, this looks absolutely just like dumb, it doesn't make sense. Exactly what I'm thinking, but it does have the barbed wire in there, so you're supposed to actually just like feel around, because I mean, it does look somewhat right, so you can just take this and almost like pose it, something like that. It looks like he has like a ponytail like going skyrocketing. Just for proof, here's my friend Cindy Reaper. He's just a really awesome one, you know, a mix of Cindy Lou Who and Jack the Reaper. As you can see, that awesome ponytail. He might have like Coca-Cola stashed up there or something, not completely sure. But in seriousness, you can just pose this with the barbed wire, so I'm gonna go ahead, mess around with that, and make him actually look right. Here he is, Jack the Reaper, in all of his glory, and this guy is absolutely amazing. Super identical to the actual mascot, but first, let's take a look at the demos.
I can see straight into your soul. You can never escape my evil eye. It's too late to run. It's too late to hide. You don't even have time to scream. I see you. I follow you around every dark corner. creep along with the monsters under your bed and turn your dreams into nightmares. You think you can escape me? I am Jack the Reaper. I make the skies turn orange, the wind howl, and the bats swarm. There is no place my bone-chilling grip cannot reach.
There you saw the demos for the Spirit Halloween 2025 Jack the Reaper animatronic, and I'm over the moon with this guy. I think he is so awesome, and Spirit did a great job at actually bringing him to life. However, I do want to get one thing out of the way first, and I want to say, if you do have a problem where Jack won't track to the right or the left for some reason, the cotter pin in his arm, I do recommend taking that out or putting that in to a different angle, because I had that problem. He wouldn't go to the right for some reason, only left, and he just wouldn't budge, and I found out that the cotter pin was in the way. So if you do have that problem, make sure to check that. Another big thing I want to touch on is that Jack's motion tracking is a huge improvement from Nibbles from last year. Obviously Nibbles being the sort of test subject when it comes to the motion tracking project, and now Jack this year definitely has major improvements, as the motion tracking is much smoother and more fluid compared to Nibbles. It was like super jolting stuff, and once again, that problem that I had where it wouldn't go off to the side, I was like, oh geez, another bad quality animatronic from Spirit. But I mean, typically retail, they aren't made the greatest, but I think that this guy, when it comes to the supports and everything, he's definitely made well, because I mean, he has so many cotter pins, and then also those 4 support beams on the base, so don't expect him to tip over or anything like that. I think he will be a-okay, but obviously if you do leave him outside, cover that control box because he isn't outdoor rated, and then also have some weights on him, because mine actually, let me see if I can show you, it almost rocks because the base isn't super sturdy, as you can see right there. It's almost rocking or something, so definitely not too big of a deal, but definitely still not something that you do want, so I do definitely recommend leaving some weights on Jack. I do want to say that I think with Jack having the arm tracking as well definitely adds much more to Jack as compared to Nibbles, because Nibbles obviously only had that head tracking animation, where Jack not only has the head, but he also has the arm, and I think it's much more effective. As with Jack, his head is almost like human size, so it wouldn't be super noticeable, but with the actual arm literally just following you along with his head synced together, I think that makes for an awesome animatronic. And also I do want to say, the setup on this guy, extremely difficult. It took me a while to figure out, with all the twisty things to make it look like he's floating. His bandana, not bandana, his hood. That thing was a giant mess. I mean, at first, as you saw, it looked like Cindy Lou Who. You had to keep posing it. Definitely really annoying, and overall just the creepy claws. Now I know some Jacks, I don't even think they even had this attached, which in that case you will get that Jack that looks like super slim and stuff, but once you do have this cloth, it definitely looks a lot better. Just double check that this cloth that you do actually put on before you put on the head doesn't go anywhere to over on his arms or anything, and does actually dangle down right here from the almost chest area, because if not, then your Jack will definitely look pretty messed up. I want to also say that I'm a big fan of how the face turned out, as not only is it a hard plastic and not a latex of any sort, but I also really like the glow red eye. I think that's really cool, and it definitely looks awesome. It even has the pupil, which typically if we do get LEDs, they're not super noticeable when you do have that LED actually lighting up. But this one you can still tell that the pupil is actually there, which I think is really awesome. And I also like his just completely blank eye. And I think, once again, amazing job, and huge props to Spirit for actually making Jack the Reaper come to life. Well, there you have it, the Spirit Halloween 2025 Jack the Reaper animatronic. And let me know down in the comments below if you're a fan of Jack or not. But anyway, make sure you remember that I'm a Spirit Keeper, and I give you a reason for every season. Bye.